Alright, we're going to be putting that and that piece of shit right there. I'm going to show you everything you need to get it done. New wax ring. Absolute necessity. Absolutely necessary. Because we're using this shit box of a system. And that was provided for us. We had to go get new bolts for that. And bolts for the tank to the bolt. It is a Mansfield, so it takes 3. Nowadays, most of them have 2. But whatever. We're gonna run through this thing step by step. First thing I typically do is get me a nice piece of cardboard so I don't mess up the floor. Gloves is you know, very helpful to have. Let's just put it that way. Especially if you're like me and you're always putting shit to your mouth constantly. It's kind of gross, actually. Okay. So that's what we got. This is what we're dealing with. This fucking thing is raised up way too high, right? But anyway. So this is actually the flange here. Typically, put it up here so you can see. Typically, your flange in most houses is PVC. This is ABS, the black. Okay. Whatever. Does the same thing, same purpose, except for trailers use it. Not sure why, but whatever. Flange is still good, so we're gonna go ahead and install these flange bolts and get the fucking thing open. All right, and to eliminate some confusion, I know some people might not know, because sometimes I see these fucking things on top of the toilet. Okay, it's not what these fucking things are here for. These little retaining rings. Its purpose is to hold the bolt in place so you can set the stool on the flange. Okay, so you start that, stick it on there into that slot, slide it back. Now see the little retainer? We used it properly. It holds the bolt up and down, so you ain't gotta fucking worry about it tipping around while you're trying to set the stool. Trust me, that little tip right there will save you a headache. Same thing. Get that guy on there. You don't want to push it down all the way, but maybe about like that, so you can still slide it inside this groove. Like that. Push it down. There. And I got something to hold your bolts. Get it kind of centered up, kind of parallel with the wall, much as possible. Yeah, man. So, what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead, open this guy. Cheapest fucking possible thing on the planet. So never replace your toilet and try to reuse this fucking thing, because it's just not a good idea. This thing going bad is probably the reason why you have to change your toilet most of the time. So it's nice and nasty and sticky, so utilize that piece of cardboard. And some people argue with me, you should stick this on the bottom of the toilet first. I think personally it's a whole lot easier to do if you get your bolts parallel. You set that there, and when you seat your toilet, make sure that your bolts are lined up with your holes before you set it down. And if they are, then you're not going to worry about this thing moving around on you. Just set it and forget it. your way. Now you're going to want to make sure that this thing's about parallel. When it is, just give it a little bit of pressure. Just sit on it just a little bit there. Just like that. And what that's doing is smushing all that wax right around that flange. Make sure it's sealed right. What you don't want to do is shove your toilet like this or like this back and forth. You want to kind of smush it and put even steady pressure on the way down. If it seats on the floor, you'll know it. It'll stop rocking and teetering around. All right. All right, next you got to put your tank onto your bowl. Typically, you replace this. You don't want to reuse that. But for whatever reason, I can't get one here. Not that I can't go buy one, but I don't know if I'm going to get reimbursed. So that's going back on. So that seats right here. What you want to do is clean the surface, and you want to clean that surface. Alright, so like I said in the last video, we have cleaned this seat. We have cleaned this ring. And like I said before, whether it's a new seal or old, use a new one, but I can't get nobody to get me a fucking new one for some fucking reason, and I'm not buying one out of my pocket. Fuck that. So what you're gonna do, take you a little bit of H2O, new or old, trust me. You're gonna take that shit, just gonna wet it down. Sounds crazy, right? Like, oh, you're supposed to stop it from leaking, right? No, this, for whatever reason, it makes the seat nice. Trust me. All right. You can sit that on there, and you can see, or not through there. You can see the floor, all three holes. That means it's about as center as it's gonna get. Let's give it a little twisty twist, a little twisty twisty, about like that. All right. So then, the proper bolt through the tank into the stool configuration is as follows. Bolt, rubber washer, in through tank. On the bottom of the stool, rubber washer, washer. I choose to use the wing nuts because I got some gorilla grip in these hands, you know what I'm saying? But that's the right configuration with your tank and your stool in between. The old little droppy drop right there, you know what I'm saying? Oh. Bolt, washer, bolt, washer, rubber washer, washer, wing nut. Fuck me. Fuck me. God damn it. Fucking fingers are too big for this shit. Alright, now, once you get all those in there, just snug them up all the way around. Make sure it's nice and seated, looks centered, looks like it's not tippy, you know what I mean? Then snug them all the way around like you would a tire. Just make sure they're nice and snug. Don't over tighten them. Or you're gonna be fucking buying a new toilet. Trust me. Alright, toilet bolts. See how there's a notch in that new bolt? Typically you gotta cut it off there. But like I said, this is one of those situations we just gonna go with the flow, you know what I'm saying? We'll snug them guys up. Repeat the same thing on the other side. Typically you'd put caps on these things too, but like I said, for whatever reason, we're not doing things the way we typically do shit in this fucker, so here we go. When you tighten these things up, do not over tighten it. Like I said, you're gonna buy a new fucking stool and that's never fun. So just make sure you're kind of going at them evenly, you know what I mean? Just a couple turns at a time on each side. If it starts getting tight, move to the other side. Like this, so I'm probably blocking the damn view. Snug at a time, like I said. It'll start stiffening up, and then you know it's tight enough. Because if you got a crank on this thing, something's not right. Just like that. Nice and solid. Ugh, I hope that's mud. Fucking disgusting. Ta-da! Oh, yeah. When you go to the hardware store, no, it's tinted bull. I don't know where the paper's at. Anyways, this thing right here looks just like the ones here. You're gonna think that they're half and half and they're the same. No. This line right here, this supply hose, it will say on it, for toilet. If it doesn't say for toilet, then don't buy it because you're gonna get the wrong shit and you'll end up at the hardware again. So, that's always the same going to the toilet, no matter what, unless you got a weird situation going on. This end though, needs to be the same size as your shut off. In this instance, we use 3/8. It's typically what I run to everything. Don't get any smaller than that anyway. So, that's how we do it. Whoops. Snug this guy. Old crescent wrench.